All right. Ella, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to just take a lot of good information from you today and be able to apply it to our lives. But first, would love to kind of hear a little bit about you and your story.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I actually started out my entrepreneurial venture as a copywriter.
Okay,
I had a really good mentor in the area. I was good at sales. I was good at writing. I put the two together and off I went.
that's
So I
awesome.
was essentially a freelancer. I had great clients. And it was around 2.5 years ago that I started getting really, really curious about Instagram. And truthfully, I started seeing the rate of return on influencer marketing. And
Mm-hmm.
I was sort of like, wow, this is insane. This is really high. This isn't going anywhere. So I started to look at influencers and I was sort of like, you know what? What made them so interesting? Like, how did they get in front of so many people? Why does everyone care about their opinion? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to become an influencer. I'm going to figure this out.
Nice.
So I holed up in my apartment for like a whole weekend. I sifted through like 200 YouTube videos. I did everything they told me to do. I posted 3 times a day. I put a theme on my page. I primarily talked about fitness. I put a color scheme on there. And if anything, I lost followers. That's when I realized there was so much garbage out there when it came to information around Instagram. And I really was like, okay, I need to go back to the drawing board and find the things that really move the needle, like what
Mm,
actually impacts an account and allows it to grow and also to, reach more people effectively.
mm-hmm.
So I essentially kind of figured out this system. And with implementation, my account went from about 1,100 followers to 25,000 in a year.
Wow.
The biggest thing is I was making a really big rate of return off of it. Like I was booking copy clients. I was
Yeah.
working with pretty big brands. I was doing influencer work. Like I was like, wow, this is a huge income generating tool. So what started to happen was my copy clients were like, yeah, we want our sales page, but like, how did you do this Instagram thing? And
Hmm.
I was like, I don't know. I just kind of figured out this system that worked on my account. I have no idea if it'll work on yours. And they were like, well, can you give it a shot? I was like, sure, why not? So I did. And it was within 4 to 5 months, Instagram just naturally made its way to the forefront of my business. So now I have, one-on-one clients that I help with their Instagram strategy and with visibility. We have a group coaching program. We just launched a membership. So it's been a really cool journey.
That's awesome. That's so cool just to kind of see people's journeys, where it starts and how they get to where they are now, and the hard work that goes into it. Like you said, you locked yourself in your apartment, were studying, was grinding away to try to get this figured out, and eventually it kind of clicked for you. And that's awesome, because I think so many people look at starting a business or starting a venture and they don't think about the work it's going to take. They just see, oh, people are successful. And they don't think about that, or they don't see that part. They're just like, oh, those people got lucky or whatever, when it really took a lot of hard work. So that's really cool to see that story kind of unfold for you. But like starting out, I guess, what is your target market or audience, and how did you figure that out?
Mine personally, you're
Yeah.
asking?
Yeah.
Well, initially, like Instagram was always just a pet project for me, right?
Hmm.
Like I had no intention of making it part of my business. So
Right.
initially, I was just really interested in getting the things I already bought for free or getting
Yeah.
paid to use them. But what started to happen is I noticed that I was really interested in other entrepreneur stuff, and and just with my copy background, I was always kind of looking at how people presented their businesses and with
Mm.
captions and whatnot. So naturally, those just happened to be the accounts that I engaged with, that I started to open up a network with. And one thing that's really cool about Instagram is the fact that it's this open platform,
Hmm.
meaning like Facebook, for example, is a closed platform. Like I
Yeah.
want to connect with you on Facebook, I need to friend request you. You need to
Right.
vet me and if you want to add me. So it's closed that way. Instagram, I can find you from a hashtag.
Hmm.
And it's also very appropriate. Like it happens all the time on there where you can DM people you don't know.
Yep.
So through there, I end up connecting with, coaches, mentors, clients, all that stuff, just by kind of being curious and
Hmm.
engaging in what I was interested in. And I guess for anyone listening, if you fall into this category of you're just starting a business or you want to or whatever, really pay attention to what you're curious about. Like, what are you just like kind of driven to figure out for no reason, even if it doesn't make sense or it doesn't align with your business? That's what's always led to the biggest breakthroughs. So
Mm.
really, it was just kind of a little bit by default, but as I started to see results with it, I was sort of like, oh, okay, so I really want to focus in this area.
Okay, that's awesome. And I think that a lot of people sometimes don't, or they have trouble finding that audience or that target market. And so you're basically saying find what intrigues you, find what kind of draws your attention and that you enjoy, and kind of go after that.
Yeah, and what I would say too is you like you're an entrepreneur, right? You
Right.
know that
Mm-hmm.
at the bottom of or at the bottom at the end of the day, you need your services need to be giving your clients a rate of return,
Mm.
whether that's actually money or it's knowledge or it's confidence or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's like looking to find their target market, what I would encourage you to do is figure out who you can help the best right now.
Mm.
And a lot of the time when I talk to my clients about this, they're like, but Ella, I can help moms and I can help, you know, other like,
Right.
these 5 groups of people. I'm like, hey, that's awesome. Who can you help like in your sleep? Like their
Mm.
problems are so easy for you to solve. It's what you eat for breakfast. That's who your target market is. And you're still going to get the outskirts. Like you'll
Yeah.
still get the people along the way that, aren't totally that person, but are along for the ride. But what you want, especially initially, like you want success stories in your business. You want
Yeah.
raving fans. You want people who are going to recommend you. So really focus on whether it's, health, fitness, your chef, whatever it might be. Focus on the problem you can solve in your sleep. Like it's
Mm.
so easy for you to solve. Because I know when I'm hiring a professional, like if I'm hiring a trainer,
Mm-hmm.
I want my problems to be like what they eat for breakfast.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh my God, I'll have you there in no time. This is going to be
For
so like,
sure.
I want that level of confidence, right?
Right.
And you don't want to, and it can be hard to fake that.
Mm.
So be authentic with it, and also know that you probably have a skill set. Everyone thinks some of their most innate talents, they're not that valuable because they kind of think everybody can do them or whatever,
Yeah.
whereas like you have a skill set that's really valuable to some people,
For
so
sure.
have faith in that.
That's awesome. Yeah, and so I think that's a good point, is like having faith in your talents and your skills and your abilities, because yeah, I think so many times people are like, oh, someone's already doing that, or there's got to be someone doing that already, when you're an individual, a unique individual, and only have certain traits together, and you're the only type of person that can do that. And so just go for it, and try and see how you can improve that audience for sure. Um, but I know starting out, it's always kind of hard to reach those people, or even get on the right footing. So what were some challenges that you faced when you kind of really realized that Instagram was going to be a good revenue source, or a good outreach? What were some challenges you faced with growing that?
Oh my God, everything. Um, I was talking with one of my friends the other day who's also an entrepreneur, and we were
Uh-huh.
saying, we're like, if there was actually like a day-to-day recorded of an entrepreneur, like nobody would watch it. It would be so boring.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's a grind sometimes. But
Yep.
what were the challenges that I faced? I think honestly, I had a really big leg up in the sense that I was always very interested in entrepreneurship. I
Okay.
always had a drive to do my own thing. I didn't always know how to channel it. So I worked in jobs for, way too long.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would do when I was in steady employment, like working for somebody else, I would take advantage of my paid vacation days and I would go to conferences. I would network with other entrepreneurs. Like I was just really curious and like driven to get around other people who were doing what I'm doing. And through there, like I've met business partners through there where we've launched projects together. One of somebody who's like one of my favorite people in the world. He's been a mentor of mine for over a year now. I met him because he was speaking at one of those conferences. So I would say in terms of the challenges, you're going to have challenges.
For
I've
sure.
never had anything that has stretched me nearly as much as entrepreneurship has.
Right.
And if no one in your immediate circle has achieved the kind of life that you want or gone through, what you're going through, you're going to need to outsource.
Mm.
So look for masterminds, look for people who can help you along the way. A lot of the time, the people that we think are like the most inaccessible because they're so successful or whatever, they're usually quite happy to help. And when you show up for those guys and you implement, that's when things can happen where they're like, hey, I'm launching a mastermind. Would you want to be in my beta program? Because I can't launch it with nobody in there. or whatever. And you're just like, oh my gosh, now I get access to this person for so cheap or for free
Yeah.
just because I showed up and I implemented, I did the stuff they told me to do. So I think honestly, finding a guide, like you need someone
Yes.
who's been where you've been, who can tell you it's going to be okay. And also just to get yourself out of your own box in terms of, you don't know what you don't know. So
Exactly.
helping you with that journey.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's huge. And one of the like pencil leadership traits is knowing that we can't do it alone. We have to be held by someone else. We have to be guided. And so to humble ourselves and ask for help, seek that counsel and guidance. And I guess, do you have any personal mentors that you really look up to right now, or that in the past have really shaped you into who you are today?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the biggest one, and I'm such a fan of this guy, and I talk about him all the time, is Anthony Trucks.
Okay.
He's an ex NFL player turned into, he's got a massively successful business now. He's a coach, an author, a speaker. And not only is he, really cool story, super successful, he's like the type of person you wish every successful person was like incredibly kind, just such a
That's
good
awesome.
person. And he started out as a coach. I got his online program, and then I did some coaching with him. And then we sort of went apart for a couple months, and I circled back and was like, hey, I really need your help in my business. And something like that just happened where we started working together again. And then he was like, hey, I'm launching this mastermind, and I need some good people in there. So do you want to be grandfathered in at this like
Hmm.
much lower rate? And I was like, oh my gosh, totally. So now I get to work with him weekly. And to be honest, my business would be nowhere near where it is if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
And it's been totally game changing. Jim Fortin has been another huge influence on me. I was managed to work with him. He's got a great group coaching program. But to be honest, with coaches, like, because there's so many out there, I
Hmm.
find if you're like looking for a coach right now, or you need guidance and you're listening to this, really trust your intuition. Like the people that I've worked with that have given me, the things I needed, I knew on some level, I'm like, I have to figure out how to work with this guy or this girl. Like, I know this, I know I need to do this. And so
Right.
you really trusting your intuition, because, there's good ones and there's ones that aren't for you at the
For
moment.
sure.
And yeah, I always want someone who's like at least 10 steps ahead of me in
Yeah.
business. Like I
Yeah.
want them to be at a point where like I can't even really imagine myself being yet, because my problems are what they eat for breakfast.
Right.
Like they're
Yeah.
so easy to them,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely a good place to start when looking for a coach, is definitely someone who's been there. And again, like you said, following your intuition, like you'll know if
Hmm.
it's right or not, and just kind of take in that, because there's no other way that we're going to get to that next level, that next step by ourselves. We have to have others to lift us up. I guess it's like that quote where we succeed because we stand on the shoulders of giants, and it's the same kind of concept, is finding those mentors and coaches to really lift us up. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
so, oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, yeah. So I was just gonna say, like, just because you're a genius in grade 3, you're still dumb in grade 8.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
like one of
yeah,
those things where like you're not at that level, and nor should you be.
yep,
Yeah, you haven't gone through it. So
right.
find someone to tutor you,
Oh,
basically.
absolutely. Yeah, I like that. So with that, like, and I think Instagram's a big way that we can, one, find those coaches and connect, like you said, because it's an
Mhm.
open system. Uh, so what would you suggest people do to start kind of growing their own following if they're looking to increase, like you did with your audience? Kind of dig into that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. There's sort of two parts to that. So the
Hmm.
first is like growing a following, and the
Yeah,
second is the connection aspect, right?
for sure.
So I have created a lot of clients that have come from Instagram. I
Uh-huh.
can tell you the highest rate of return I've gotten from it is not clients, it's the people I've connected with. It's getting in
Gotcha.
the proximity of people that have been a lot more successful than me,
Hmm.
because we live in this really cool time where everybody's a DM away.
Yep.
Like I'm 32 right now. And like when I was, 13, 14, the only way you got in touch with a public figure was those like really scammy, like contact any celebrity websites that had
Yeah.
fake phone numbers. But now we live in this super cool world. So in terms of the first aspect, growing your following, what you really need to do, and this is the biggest myth out there we hear when it comes to Instagram,
Mm.
is that we hear that posting is what gets you followers. Post 3 times a day, do all this
Yeah.
stuff. posting gets you in front of your followers. It
Okay.
doesn't really get you. The only time it gets you new followers is if for some reason that post goes viral and ends up on the explore page, which is
Gotcha.
the explore page is the only way to go viral on Instagram,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So what you need to do is you need to get onto other people's feeds. So what this means is engage. Instagram's a community, right? And
Yep.
they created it that way. So you need to engage. I need to be like, oh, Chris liked my photo. Who's Chris? And I go to his account, right? Or go to your account.
Yeah.
And if you've done this in a way that's a bit strategic, most likely, you know, you're engaging with me because I'm following accounts that are similar to yours, or I'm
Right.
obviously interested in what you do based on my activity. And
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, cool. He has this podcast. He has this business. This is totally what I'm into. Awesome. So now I'm able to follow and connect with you. Right.
Right.
Another really, so kind of the second part of the question, another really big thing is connecting on
Yep.
Instagram. So you want to take advantage of every chance you have to get in touch with people that are more successful than you. So what this means is like when you're listening to a podcast, for instance,
Hmm.
screenshot the podcast, tag the person who hosts it, tag the guest. Because what happens when you tag someone in your stories, for example,
Yep.
like if I were to do a story right now and I tag you in it,
Yeah.
you're going to get a DM that
Yep.
says like Ella J May tagged you in a story, right?
Yep.
Anybody who's in business right now knows that attention is at the same level as money.
Yeah.
Everybody wants attention.
For
So,
sure.
this is why like Lewis Howes, Gary Vee, all these guys, they still respond to every DM. They manage all their comments, everything, because they know that relationship with their audience is their lifeline.
For sure.
So more than not, you tag these people, right? They get a DM. More than not, they'll reply to you and just say, hey, thanks for listening or whatever. And you're able to be like, yeah, no problem. Love your stuff. This makes a really easy opening for like, as your business develops, as you develop, if you ever go back to these guys or something comes up again, you've got this little history of you
Mm,
not asking for anything, but just adding value to them, spreading the word about what they're doing.
for
And it's a
sure.
very warm introduction to what possibly could be an invaluable relationship. So
Absolutely.
yeah, like really use every opportunity you have, whether you're like reading a book right now, or you're into a blog, or you're listening to podcasts or whatever, screenshot it, put it in your stories, tag the people, and just start getting noticed by the people you want to be around.
Yeah. And would you say that you should do it a certain number of times or just as it comes kind of thing? Is there too much to post? Is there a limit that hurts you with tagging people or?
Keep it relevant. Like
Yeah.
don't
Don't
post
spam it
something.
everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, and just like spam tag
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I don't appreciate that. But no, in terms of stories and stuff, like go nuts and
Okay.
do what's relevant, do what you're actually interested in, like be
Yep.
authentic with it.
For
In
sure.
terms of posts, to be honest, like if you're someone who you have the time and the resources to post 3 times a day, amazing. You're not spamming people. Probably most of your followers aren't seeing your posts
See,
anyways.
right.
But just keep them really like if you're gonna post, let's say you're gonna post 5 times a week. Don't you dare post 5 times a week on Instagram about your business. That's not why I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm on Instagram to like bounce around, hang out, see who's on there, read a funny meme. And I want to know about you and your life, and your business is a part of your life, but show me the other sides too. LinkedIn, totally different. It's
Yeah.
completely appropriate to post only about your business on LinkedIn,
Right.
right?
Yep.
But Instagram, I'm gonna go over there to kind of make sure you're real. Like I want to
Mm,
see some behind the scenes, like some stories, see like what you're all about. Maybe you have a family, maybe you have a girlfriend, a wife, husband, whatever, right?
right.
But I want to see kind of the other aspects of your life and not just have it be a promotional page.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's important. Yeah. Cause I mean, I go to some people's pages and it's all, um, about Bitcoin, which is nothing wrong with Bitcoin, but it's all about that, or all just random quotes with random people's pictures or random, but nothing about them at all. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay. And it's like their name's not even like a real name or something, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, I got the point there. But so, um, but yeah, I think I like what you said about like making your page let people see kind of your real life too, because I think that just makes a better connection for sure with that. Um, Now, I do have a question. with stories, we talked about tagging, obviously, whoever's in the podcast that you snap on there or whatever. I've heard kind of conflicting things with it. Do you tag them in it and show that, like at Lewis House, or I've heard people say, no, you got to hide it underneath behind the picture so it's not as crowded. What do you have a take on that?
Like I would say don't make this overly complicated.
Yeah.
Tag who's relevant.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with showing mine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nowadays on stories, you can, minimize the photo and kind of, you can really organize it nicely.
Right.
So there is a thing like around with what you're saying, it's much more common for people to do hashtags and hide them
Okay.
so that they're showing up on the hashtag story and whatnot.
Yeah.
As far as I know, that's still working. Like if you do a hashtag, whatever, and you hide it, your story will still show up for that hashtag.
Right.
However, I don't like Instagram's pretty smart and they might catch
Yeah.
on to that if you're doing it in a spammy way.
I got you.
So yeah, like I would say just, do what's relevant, organize it in a way that, doesn't look too cluttered.
Right.
And yeah, for now, if you need to hide one or two things, you can, but I would also just like keep it simple. Don't make it this huge thing where you're like, oh, I have to post a story and like, oh, there's like 8 steps to that. Like,
right.
then you won't do it.
Yeah. Just do like a quick whatever. Hey, I'm doing this. Hey, what's up, guys? Kind of thing. And
yeah,
I think and I think, myself included, definitely have overthought the process before and made it too difficult when it doesn't really need to be. I mean, it's just to share information, share your life, share what's going on and how you can help people. And that's real. The end of the day, it's can we serve others with it, and can we help other people? And so yeah, I think it's a great tool. But what I know they've talked about, and I haven't heard anything else about Instagram taking away the likes and things of that nature. I didn't know if you had a perspective on that, what you thought that could do, good or bad, to the community there.
Well, they've already done that. Like,
Okay.
is it not active in your area yet?
Maybe not.
It's like where you don't see the number of likes on the photo.
I would have to.
Like you on the bottom.
No, I still see likes on mine.
Yeah, but you see like liked by, so like, do you see the number or is it like liked
how many
by
likes? Yeah, I see how many likes.
Okay, so interesting. And where are you located?
Indiana. Well, okay, on my personal ones I don't, but if I'm looking on like the feed, I'll see how many likes total.
Oh, interesting. Because I thought it was rolled out all through the US now. So Instagram trialed this in Canada, Australia, and Italy initially, where they actually took away the number of likes. So what would happen is you still see under a photo, you see liked by, 2, 3 people and others.
Yep.
But you don't actually see the number.
Okay.
So what's been really, and I think it's rolled out through most of the US. To be honest, I'm sure there's just still like, versions of the app that are like if you were to delete and reinstall, maybe it'd be different. But and it looks like that's going to be a permanent change. So with them taking away the number of likes, I think that did a few things. For one is it kind of halted some of the jumping on the bandwagon activity.
Yeah.
So for example, if you're like scrolling through your feed and you see, an influencer's post that has 14,000 likes, a lot of the time you'll just like jump on board with that. Whereas now you have to like actually be engaged with it to do anything on it.
Right.
Another big thing is especially around the younger generation with social media, like there were people just doing really unsafe things because they were posting videos solely to get reactions, to get engagement. Right. Whereas when this happened, it's just not as likely that they're, Instagram thought it's not going to be as likely they're going to be as affected by it. And also I won't see it as much unless I'm like really actively engaged in that sort of content, those sort of accounts, whatever.
Right.
So I think, ultimately, to be honest, I'm in Canada and I haven't seen likes now for, I feel like at least 6 months. I prefer it.
Okay. So you don't even get a notification that someone liked it?
Oh yeah. No, I get
okay. I'm sorry.
And I can see it on my account. Like if I click on the photo, it'll show me the total type thing. But on other people's accounts on my feed and stuff, I don't see the amount of likes. Like I'll see liked by, Chris Anderson and hundreds of others or whatever.
Okay.
But there's no number at the bottom.
Huh. Yeah. So I guess I need to update. I don't know if you can see it I'm showing her on the video, guys. So
Oh, crazy. Well, I
yeah,
mean, it might just be that,
maybe I need
for
to
some
update. Maybe
reason,
I'm behind on the update.
well, maybe don't update. I don't know if you like it,
Yeah,
but
I guess I didn't even notice it changed really on mine, the
yeah.
like by, so I don't think it matters too much, but um no, I thought it could be good because I think, and this is kind of a little off topic, but I think so many people get struggling because of the likes, like, oh, it didn't get
Mm.
likes, and so it goes back to the whole like how they see themselves and the mentality behind it. Um but yeah, so I think that the big takeaways so far has been like, just be authentic,
Mm.
connect with one another, um, and just be real. I think those are the main kind of goals to grow your audience, if I took away what you're saying right from today's show, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, your audience is mainly entrepreneurial, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, one thing you want to keep in mind, especially when it comes to Instagram,
Mm.
is Instagram is not a sales platform. It doesn't perform well as a sales platform. Actually, the reason why that first algorithm change happened, where we went from chronological
uh
to activity based, and everyone complained about it, right? Because it used to be when you followed people, like if I followed you and you posted 2 seconds ago, I went onto my feed, I'd see your post because you
Yep.
posted most recently,
Yep.
right? Now it's completely different. Like we could follow the same 100 people, sit down
We
side
see
by
different.
side, and our
Yeah.
feeds look different based on our activity. The reason why that changed was because there was all these accounts that were selling like, bikinis and makeup brushes and whatever that were clogging up feeds, posting 18 times a day,
Yeah.
and users were going off the app. It was losing engagement because of it. So, of course, those users could have just unfollowed those accounts, but stats were showing
Right.
they weren't.
Yeah.
So Instagram was like, okay, no, we're going to switch this so that people only see what they're interested in so we can keep them on the app longer.
Smart.
So when you're using Instagram, you want to create it as a platform to connect. This is not a sales platform.
Right.
When you're connecting with people that are already interested in what you're doing, whatever, what you want to have set up is some support systems where you can send them to
Mm.
have a conversation about your training program, about your services, or about theirs, whatever.
Yeah,
That's more appropriate. So this
for
might
sure.
be you put them onto your email list. This might be they come into your Facebook group. This could be they come onto a 15-minute call with you or go to your website, whatever it might be.
Yep.
But don't try to sell or close deals on Instagram. You'll have a really hard time
Yeah.
because it's just not designed for that. Just
Right.
focus on community.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, just building those connections. I mean, because it takes time regardless, even to sell, quote unquote, because I mean, you need to have that connection with someone first before they're going to even trust you, because it's going to be someone they might not even know or have ever heard of. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah, I agree 100%. It's just making that connection, being authentic. Um, and then people will see that and be able to kind of understand and want to interact more with you. So no, I think that's great information. And I think I think it was a smart thing Instagram did with that change in algorithm, um,
Totally.
for
Like I want
everyone.
to see ads. I want to see
Yeah,
ads that are relevant to me. Like,
exactly.
why not?
Right.
Yeah.
And I know now they're doing ads in the stories. Um,
Yeah. They've been doing that for a while.
okay. And I don't think they seem as spammy. They don't, I kind of just kind of flows from my perspective. I don't know if you feel the same about that or not.
I mean, yeah, I think they do a good job with it. Like,
Yeah.
Instagram's owned by Facebook. Facebook
Right.
is a beast when it
Yeah.
comes like they've great foresight. They've done a really good job with their platforms. And yeah, I mean, I think they've done a pretty good job with it. Instagram is definitely veering more towards having, you get seen more if you put up paid content. So
Mm-hmm.
this could be you just boost a post to get in front of
Right.
more people for like $5. It could be you run a
Yep.
whole marketing campaign.
Right.
But my only thing with that is I would say like if you're doing something in terms of sales, like and you're putting that as an ad, that's obviously a good marketing strategy.
For
Just
sure.
don't take people straight to a checkout page. Take them to a masterclass. Take them to your Facebook. Like take them somewhere where they can then kind of settle into your stuff and
Mm-hmm.
then have a follow-up sequence to that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's important, instead of, yeah, just going straight to, okay, buy this, buy this. You're adding more
Yeah.
value to them and their journey. And so I think that's huge as well. But well, Ella, I'm appreciative of everything you've taught us and brought to us today. For sure, I know it's some great information that the listeners will be able to implement in their journeys. But before you go, I'd love to ask you a couple questions just related to pencil leadership. I try to ask all the guests here. The first one is, have you ever been through a really hard time or made a mistake that now looking back on, you've seen the positive from it? You've seen what it has brought you to be now.
No. I'm joking. Of course. Oh my gosh. I'm like, no, I've never made a mistake. Oh gosh, totally. Yeah. I think one of the biggest ones for me is when I was, first growing my Instagram, I was doing a
Hmm.
lot of influencer work.
Okay.
So with influencer work meant a lot of photo shoots.
Gotcha.
And I was kind of primarily in fitness. So it was fitness style shoots. And I remember I'd never done professional photos, like shoots before that.
Yeah.
And I remember getting the first set of photos back and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I want to be thinner. I want to be prettier, all this
Oh.
stuff. So I went on, I can be committed to a fault sometimes. So I went on essentially this prep diet of like
Uh-huh.
very low calorie, very low carb. And this is a diet intended for like a week before
Okay.
something big. And I stayed on it for 4 months
Oh, wow.
with workouts, all this stuff. So basically, I crashed my adrenals. I tanked my thyroid. My metabolism was at a standstill. I burnt out all my cortisol. So basically, I had no motivation.
Right.
I would roll over and get dizzy.
Oh,
And by the time I landed the doctor, we did all this blood work. They were just like, what is going on? Like, what did you do to yourself? I was just like,
right.
oh. So anyways, it was about a 2-month recovery period where I couldn't walk. I couldn't do
Wow.
anything. I really just had to chill. I could barely do anything in my business. And what taught me, what was really interesting
Hmm.
was that I realized that I had this pattern of burning myself out.
Huh.
I had this pattern of going hard, hard, hard,
Yep.
crash, going hard, 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 crash. And I'm so happy it happened before,
Mm,
I really got into it with my business, because I'm sure if it hadn't have, I would have crashed midway through launches. I would have
man.
crashed. But
Yeah.
it really taught me to be, a lot kinder to myself, and also to identify like, why do I feel I need to like work out 7 times a day to do this? Or like, why do I feel I
Yeah.
need to work 16-hour days all the time? Like,
Right.
I kind of identified a bit of a worthiness issue there.
Mm,
So it was by far it was the hardest health crash I've gone through. It was
man.
insane, but
Wow.
very happy it happened when it did.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. I think a lot of people can relate. And I know not maybe through the workouts, but just through grinding day in and day out and just the
Mm.
wear on you. Yeah, for sure. And knowing when you kind of need to take a step back and take a breath and recharge for sure. So that's a great one. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Mhm.
The next one and the last one we'll ask is, so after everything is done here on earth for you, you've gone through life here. Um, what do you want your positive mark to be that people see that you left?
Good question. What do I want my positive mark to be? To be honest, like, uh, oh, this is like, there's 2 things coming to me. So, to be honest, I would say the 2 things I would love to leave to
Hmm.
anybody I care about, or even, anybody who comes across it, would be the power of connection and forgiveness.
Awesome.
Forgiveness has been a huge, huge lesson I've been learning in these past 6 months or so. And it's just
Hmm.
been incredible what it's done for me personally, my business, everything.
Yeah.
And just letting that go, and connection, just because I think that's why I was always drawn towards social media, because I
Hmm.
love connecting with people and I love finding cool stories and making connections for people. And I think we miss out on so much because we think that we're being rude, or like, we're
Right.
imposing, or we think that that person will never talk to us or whatever. And it's like, who cares?
Yep.
Like, people love being told that you like their stuff. They love being told that you appreciate them. They
Yep.
love, like, even if they don't respond to it or they don't see it, like, who cares? Like, just
Absolutely.
like put it out there. So I
Yeah.
would say those would be 2 things I would love that anyone
That's awesome.
who comes across me gets.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I mean, one, forgiveness, yeah, it will just take so much weight off you that
It's
you people
incredible.
carry around, and it's amazing what that'll do. And then yeah, connection. I think we're made to be in community. I think we're made to have connection all the time. And I think we've lost a little bit of that with social media, with the internet, but I think it's starting to come back around with like you said, reaching out to people and being able to connect all over the world now, and hear,
Yeah.
like, through podcasts, like I'm able to talk to people in Israel and Europe and Canada, and it's amazing just to be able to reach so many different people and hear stories. And so I think that's huge and a great mark that you want to leave, and I'm sure that you will, as you go about everything. But before we go, is there anything you'd like to, like, kind of promote or tell the audience about that you're working on, or where they can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can always find me on Instagram. I'm at ella.j.may. You can check out my site, ellajmay.com. So currently we have Instafame Academy, which is an 8-week live group training program where we go through exactly what to do to build and monetize your Instagram. We just launched a membership, which has been super fun. So it's at, like, right now it's very much in beta. I'm only bringing in people I haven't worked with before because I'm
Mhm.
really interested in building content around the feedback that I get from that.
Yeah.
But that's definitely open, so that's really cool, and it's a lower price point to be able to work one-on-one with me, and then we do some one-on-one consulting as well. So come check it out. We have loads of free resources on the site. You can DM me on Instagram. I'm always on there. Yeah, come hang out.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, guys, check out her stuff. Check her out. Connect with her. You won't be sorry. So, Ella, again, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.